he didn't till now, and we cannot. I think we cannot wait. So. Good morning, everyone. This is Iman Aidel. I am a senior sustainable energy specialist at the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. And we are here today in the training course of the energy efficiency financing mechanism with the special focus on building and appliances to cover the main experiences of Tunisia and Egypt within the MeetMed project. So before going to our speakers for the opening, I would love to give you just a brief about the MeetMed 2 project, which is the mitigation enabling energy transition in the Mediterranean region, a MeetMed project, which is an EU-funded project that have been developed by the Mediterranean Association of the National Agencies for Energy Management, MEDENER, and the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, RECRE. MeetMed 2 activities aims actually to strengthen the implementation of the energy efficiency measures and improving the country's energy mix, focusing on the building and appliances sector through multi-scale and multi-partners and inclusive approaches at local and regional level, thereby fostering renewable and regional cooperation. The training today is 3 hours training, and we'll have with us some of our unique experiences in the financing mechanism in the region and in the European Commission experience as well. So let's start with the opening remarks. Going to Dr. Maged Mahmoud, our Technical Director at RECRE. Dr. Maged, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Iman. Good morning. Dr. Cyril Delawin, Program Manager for Energy, Building and Guarantees at the European Commission. Dr. Roberta Boniotti, MEDENER Secretary General. Dr. Fatih El-Khanshu, and the representative of ANME with us. Distinguished colleagues and attendees, good morning. On behalf of RECRE, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome you to today's training on energy efficiency mechanisms with special focus on building and appliances. This is part of the MeetMed project, kindly funded by the European Union and implemented jointly by our colleagues at MEDENER and their affiliated agencies. In fact, this training follows several activities that we have broadly conducted since the start of the project, and among the most important of them for us is focusing on the access to finance part of the initiatives. Among the most important was the Mediterranean Sustainable Energy Investment Forum that we conducted late March this year, where we have experts from 13 Mediterranean countries, including 8 Arab countries, declaring that energy efficiency first should be a principle also for the southern Mediterranean region. And in fact, this is a change in the mindset that we are happy to see now in the region. And in fact, this is followed by several activities also, including lately in Jordan having the first roundtable for financing experts and institutions, where we also managed to discuss several challenges related to financing energy efficiency, especially in building and appliances. We understand that there are several challenges facing mobilizing investments for EE in these special 2 targeted sectors, but we'll do our best through this project, MeetMed, and other in collaboration and synergy with other projects in the region and other initiatives and institutions and regional actors. We'll do our best not only to provide knowledge products, but also to provide effective tools and try to see some concrete actions on the ground and enhance the implementation capacities across the region within this particular domain of access to finance to energy efficiency activities in building and appliances. I'm really thankful for the kind support of the European Union, especially Cyril, for the support and guidance you are giving us over 5 years now with the MeetMed 1 and MeetMed 2. Thank you very much. And also to Mediner, represented by our close friend Roberta and her team, for the sincere spirit of collaboration, without which we could have never achieved any success in this project. And also to our partners from the countries in the region, especially today we have with us Tunisia, and Tunisia has been always among the leading countries in the energy efficiency in the region, based even on our analytical products that we see. This Tunisia is in fact an example for many of the southern and eastern Mediterranean countries in the energy efficiency, and they were always keen to provide this knowledge to other countries in the region, and also to in fact advance more in this domain. Thanks also to my colleagues Iman and Mustafa for their excellent preparation today, and the entire team here at RCRE, and also for the insight that Iman and Mustafa will provide today on the subject. I wish all of us a very successful event, and I trust that we will have a very interactive and also fruitful discussions throughout the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Megan. It was a very, very nice introduction. And thank you for being the work package leader for package 5 that have been focusing mainly on the access to finance. I leave the floor now to Cyril, the program manager for energy blending and guarantees at the European Commission. And before starting, I'd like to thank you for being with us today. So the floor is yours, Cyril.
Thank you very much, Aman, and the pleasure is mine to attend this introduction of the training. So good morning and good afternoon for those further away. I'm very pleased to be part of this introduction, because I mean the energy efficiency in buildings and appliances is a key topic for the energy sector reforms, of course, in the EU, but as well in the southern developed countries. And I mean, as you know, the EU is providing numerous, let's say, forms of support to the partner countries in order to accelerate the green energy transition. We do have in Europe the renovation wave, which has been adopted last year or 2 years ago by our member states in order to accelerate the energy efficiency in building measures. And we try with the MeetMed project, but also with other actors like international financial institutions, to develop some financing models in order to accompany our partner countries in these endeavors. So MeetMed is, let's say, very well driven by Mediner and RCRE, and I would like to thank here Roberta and Maged and other colleagues for their very strong support in this. Well, we also currently work within the EU to develop new financial instruments in our cooperation framework. So we have our usual grants and technical assistance, but we also work now more and more with financial institutions to develop what we call blending projects, where we provide some limited funding to larger amounts of loans in order to, let's say, give more impact to the project being developed by the financial institutions. And you might have heard that Agence Française de Développement has developed a program called Programme d'efficacité énergétique des bâtiments, so Energy Efficiency in Buildings Program, which is currently implemented in Morocco and Tunisia. And the EU has decided to extend this experience to other countries in the region. So we are currently preparing the document for the contract, and it shall be operational in the coming 6 months, we hope. And then in addition, we also work now through a new instrument based on risk analysis, which then allows us to provide some guarantees to some loans that are being disbursed not only by international institutions but also by local and commercial banks, which is a new step that we try to experience, because we believe that the private sector in the partner countries also have a very important role to play to go into the energy efficient buildings. Last but not least, I'm very pleased to see that ANME is with us today, because in Tunisia you have a very strong experience for many years on energy efficiency, and I'm very sure that within the training today you will be able to show us what you have already managed to do in Tunisia, what could be possibly replicated in other countries, in Egypt, but also in other ones in the region. So I really look forward to listening to what has been achieved in Tunisia, and I wish you a very, very good seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cyril. I would totally agree with you regarding the guarantees of the loan, especially by the local and commercial banks. And I think this is a talking trend nowadays in the MENA region, specifically on the energy efficiency. As Dr. Megan mentioned, people now are working on the energy efficiency comes first. So let me give the floor to Roberta Pinotti. Roberta is the General Secretary of the MEDINER, which is the Mediterranean Association of the National Agencies for Energy Management, and they are our partners in the MEETMED2 project. So Roberta, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Eman and Cyril Maged for the nice introductions. I'm very pleased to be here to be participating to this training course on access to finance. I represent MEDENER, the Mediterranean Association of 13 national energy agencies, both from the northern and southern shores of the Mediterranean. And we, as announced by Maged, we coordinate together the MEETMED project. The second phase, now we are at the second phase of the project, and we started building the regional network of experts from 14 Mediterranean countries. And this is very important and crucial to accelerate the path of energy transition in our and climate transition in our region. We really believe that a particular focus on energy efficiency and renewable energy is very important from the perspective of the energy security, and it is very needed during these hard times of crisis, the biggest energy supply crisis in decades. And of course, global energy markets are at the crossroads. Energy security is very important, and it is at the forefront of political agendas as commodity prices surge now. During the first MEETMED week that took place at the end of March in Cairo, the experts highlighted the importance of a qualified common approach, first of all, putting together policymakers, national energy agencies, networks of experts and other relevant stakeholders in order to build concrete measures to afford these challenges that we are facing. And the key messages, the two among the main key messages that I would like to highlight today are the energy efficiency first principle and enhancing access to finance. We need to work on the energy efficiency first because this is the fastest way to decarbonization, and we have to act immediately, very quickly, and this is important, and we have to enhance access to finance in order to achieve our ambitious targets, because the fastest way is really to consider energy efficiency in the buildings and in the appliances, in particular in our region. We need to foster the growth of more efficient buildings and the deep renovation of the existing ones, and also to enhance efficient appliances in the region. I will present later on the situation and the experiences, some highlights of the experiences in financing energy efficiency in Europe. And we have already started, as Maged also highlighted, with the Mediterranean Sustainable Energy Investment Forums. We started in March, then we had the first national roundtable. That's very important. And today it is very important to have this training course with experts from Tunisia that I would like to welcome, and our partner ANME, that's a founding partner of MEDENER, and our very important partner Egypt. So I look forward to hearing from you all, and thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you so much, Roberta. Actually, I totally agree with you that among our 250 attendees, I think most of them are willing to know the keynote and main experience of the EU Commission. So I have to. I think there is a problem regarding the internet in Tunisia, but we're supposed to have Mr. Fathi El-Hanshi, the General Manager of the National Agency for Energy Conservation, and the ANME is one of our main partners in Tunisia as a Korea and as a MEDENER. So let's start with the key point of the training and main objective until we have him with us. due to this internet issue. As I mentioned before, this is a project, an EU-funded project, MeetMed2, that have been started actually at 2018 till 2020. It was MeetMed1, phase 1 of the project, and now we are beyond our phase 2, which is focusing mainly on the building and appliances sector with a huge interest in the energy efficiency. This training presents the main aspects that aims to reinforce the energy efficiency measures and practices in the building sector and appliances, with focusing on the strategies, the financial mechanisms, the special financing programs for buildings and appliances, with the case studies, of course, from the Mediterranean countries. One of them is in Egypt, and another one in Tunisia, which is beyond the MENA region steps on the energy efficiency, and of course the main experience of the European Commission, or the European Union. The training will start with the energy efficiency highlights, financing highlights from the European Union experience, to cover the lessons learned and the main key factors of leading this experience, and this will be presented by Roberta. Then we will shift to the business models on the energy efficiency, covering, of course, the EPCs, the ESCOs, the Super-ESCOs, and the main recommendations in order to promote the energy efficiency financing mechanism under activity 511, related to the financing of the energy efficiency in both business, in both buildings and appliances, toward our relevant stakeholders through the 8 main countries in the projects, which are Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Lebanon, Jordan, Palestine, Egypt, and Libya. We will, after that, go directly to our colleague Mustafa Hassanin to give us more information about the green finance aspects and the energy efficiency major finance challenges, in addition to the example of the Egyptian sustainable financing model, which we have in Egypt. And we will end this by the unique experience of the Tunisian partners related to the financing mechanism as well, and their FTE program, which is a financing tool for all the energy efficiency, and they have like a sustainable process there. I think it will be very interesting to know about it. So let me start with Roberta. I would ask our IT, Mr. Ibrahim, if you could open the share so that Roberta can share her presentation, and we can then start.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Iman. I will start this training course presenting some highlights from the EU experience, and of course we have already had the introduction by Cyril that's completely in line with what I will be saying. I will start with the experience in Europe of the Energy Efficiency Financial Institutions Group. And I would like to start from the quotation of the Director General for Energy, that public funding cannot achieve our energy and climate goals alone. We need at least an additional 150 billion euro in energy efficiency investment per year. And this is a strong case for private financing. This is important. Public funds are not sufficient. Therefore, we need private investments. The Energy Efficiency Financial Institution Group was established in 2013 by the European Commission, the Directorate General for Energy, the United States Environment Programme's Finance Initiative. And this group, we are, as an Italian National Energy Agency, a member of the group, and I'm the representative there. We intend to provide significant contribution in accelerating private finance to energy efficiency. And to do so, we need to address the barriers to energy efficiency financing through both policy design and market-based solution, because it's important to increase the scale of energy efficiency investments across Europe. The group is composed of over 300 representatives coming from more than 200 organizations. And it's very important to highlight that the strengths are the members, its members, because we go from public partners, energy agencies, private financial institutions, international financial institutions, industry representatives, sector experts. That's to demonstrate that it's very important to work together through a multi-level stakeholder dialogue. This is crucial. We have working groups that are working together to identify opportunities, barriers in the long-term financing for energy efficiency, and particularly propose policy and market solutions. The relevant achievements of the EEFIG. You will find on my presentation the link to the final report 2015, where there are some important recommendations that are mainly still valid. And there have been some progresses, for example, on energy performance contracts, but mainly the recommendations are still crucial, as we will see later. Then the delivery of the de-risking energy efficiency platform. It's very important to have an idea of the energy efficiency project and to have data. This database is the biggest one, and then I will see that I will go into the slide that will present a little bit this platform. Then the energy efficiency financial institution group underwriting toolkit. This is a toolkit that's designed to assist the financial institution. And it's important because they can have assistance to scale up their deployment of capital into energy efficiency. Here you have the link to the underwriting toolkit that was provided by the EEFIG members. The Sustainable Energy Investment Forums initiative, which was already mentioned by Maged at the beginning, and for sure I hope you are aware of the Mediterranean Sustainable Energy Investment Forums initiative that we launched within the MITMED2 project, and the very first meeting was held during the MITMED week in March in Cairo. In the EEFIG, we have several working groups that are working in different areas of the key investment challenges for Europe. So energy efficiency investment criteria, indicators, evolution of financing practices. So different main topics where the experts coming from all the different countries and institutions in Europe are gathered. After 7 years from the main report in 2015, we can say that main barriers that were identified in 2015 remain critical. There is now a greater supply of finance, but barriers remain, and in particular, the high investment costs in energy efficiency. Energy efficiency solutions are, of course, more capital intensive than less efficient solutions, and very often have longer paybacks. Even if they are changing, it's going to the payback period is going to be reduced. There are high transaction costs as the investments needed for energy efficiency are generally very small. There are some projects that have poorly known risk characteristics. It's not very well understood, and especially by the financial world. Even if during the years we've been talking and through dialogue and working groups and working together, many barriers and many risky characteristics have been highlighted very well. There are still some market segments that are difficult. Many low-income households, SMEs, they have difficult access to finance. So this is very important because energy efficiency investments are very often directed to those stakeholders. So there is in general a limited availability of reliable information. The real energy efficiency performance data is really a growing issue for financial institutions. The EEFIG provided the 2021 general recommendation to the EU Commission and to financial institutions. I have here the list of the main recommendations, and some of them are related to the European framework. So connected to the directives that we have together at European level. But it is very important to highlight also for the Mediterranean region that large EE programs should be developed to facilitate the growth of energy performance contracting and ESCOs, and in particular for public and commercial buildings and energy intensive SMEs. Another recommendation, very strong, is that public procurement rules in the EU should include the energy efficiency first principle and incentivize the use of low carbon technologies, including, of course, energy efficiency, not just technology, but also energy efficiency interventions. And all the projects financed by EU funds should be procured applying these rules, because it's very important to develop new low carbon heat networks and modernization of existing ones. We need to improve the use of EU funds, and the funding should be only used to support energy efficiency investments that deliver a significant contribution to the EU taxonomy aligned. This is of course valid for Europe, but it could be also applied in our region. The development of large-scale financial instruments can be encouraged, and it must be in collaboration with distribution partners to reach really millions of corporates and buildings and the customers, and in order to mobilize larger amounts of investments. Public funds are not enough, of course. We should improve annual reporting on energy efficiency investments, because the systematic reporting to central database, like for example the de-risking energy efficiency platform, should be mandatory for public funded project in order to have a clear picture and to be available to all, and in particular to financial institutions. Also, the EEFIG in 2021 prepared recommendations for financial institutions, and it's one of the main recommendations is to develop de-risking tools. We've heard in the introduction, Cyril, that's working really at blending projects, and it's very important to put together the possibility of having de-risking tools and international financial institutions to mitigate credit risk related to financing energy efficiency, to reduce also risk with innovative technologies or technologies in the early market penetration phase, and to cover long-term risks, of course. We need to promote the development of scalable, innovative financial instruments. For example, on-bill repayments, on-tax finances, green mortgages, and there is also another initiative very much connected with the energy efficiency financial group that's about green mortgages, a big network about that, and renovation loans, of course, particularly directed to the building sector. It's very important to standardize investment assessment processes, contract terms, and investment structures to support the aggregation of projects. As we said, there are in energy efficiency field, there are small projects, and the need for aggregation is really high. Then the financial institutions are invited to develop more specialized financial instruments, and in conjunction with market operators, it's very important to involve the energy services company, the heat networks, the mortgage lenders, startup, all the different market operators that could have a big impact on the ground. So retail lenders should also engage on energy performance and blend the grants with loans in single delivered packages should be developed for households and SMEs with lower access to finance. Of course, when it will become necessary to have a secondary market for energy efficiency when the energy efficiency market has achieved a certain scale. So we are working for this since 2013, and we can have an example in the de-risking that was mentioning before, energy efficiency platform. You will have the link. This is an open source initiative, and you will have the possibility to visit the websites, the charts, all the different projects that have been uploaded. There are more than 11,000 buildings project in energy efficiency, and the median payback time we can see here, it's 4.3 years. It's every time changing, of course, when new projects are added to the platform, and the median avoidance cost on buildings is 2.6 euro cents per kilowatt hour. The same for industry. We are in the MITMED project more focused on buildings and appliances, but also the energy efficiency in industry is a crucial point, and in particular SMEs, but not just SMEs. We have more than 12,000 uploaded projects. The median payback time for industry is 2.8 years, and the median avoidance cost for industry is 1.9 euro cent per kilowatt hour. Going to another output of the Energy Efficiency Financial Institution Group, this is the Sustainable Energy Investment Forums initiative. The main aim is to work together to bridge the energy efficiency financing gap. This initiative was set up in 2016 by the European Commission, DG Energy, and SINEA. 4 events took place so far across the EU. The aim is creating dialogue, enhancing the capacity and the cooperation between public and private stakeholders, including and particularly finance sector. And the forum is a series of public conferences, national roundtable discussions, and webinars. And the outcomes are good practices that are shared, particularly dialogue between the different stakeholders that I mentioned. And we obtained contributions to the recovery and resilience plans, to the national energy and climate plans in Europe, to the long-term national renovation strategies, and also different EU funding programs and financing initiatives have been implemented. So this is important. We launched the Mediterranean Sustainable Energy Investment Forums in the MITMED project. We know, of course, that the national level is also very relevant, very important. So it's important to have a regional dialogue to exchange together, but then it's important to go at national level to identify the challenges for each country. Large amounts of public funds in Europe are really available through the EU recovery package, the multi-annual financial framework for the 7 years, 2021-2027. The EU funds are really assigned to climate action are the double compared to the previous period, 2014-2020. Nevertheless, public funds are not enough, and we need additional funds. And public funding should become a catalyst for private financing. There's a need for attracting private investment, green financing, and of course, we need to establish exchange forums, national roundtables to discuss green loans, mortgage financing, investment de-risking, and also the introduction of deep renovation standards, mobilization of technical assistance, and capacity building. As announced before, we had the first national roundtable in Jordan that was very successful. We put together international financial institutions, banks, private banks from Jordan. We discovered that the Association of Banks already has a green finance strategy, but of course, they can't operate in an isolated way. They must be in contact with international financial institutions, with politicians, and we had the Ministry of Energy, the Secretary General, participating in our forum. It's very important, and we are now going to launch the next ones for within the MITMED project in different beneficiary countries. So they are focused on national needs to address the key national challenges. They are closed workshops with key stakeholders, really are focused on dialogue and solutions. They have to bring solutions. They are based on people. It's very important to identify the relevant stakeholders in each country. So finance, public and private, investment banks, all relevant ministry, energy agencies, but very important to invite the market actors, such as utilities, ESCOs, construction sector, industry federations, consumers organizations. They are very relevant because they are on the ground and they must participate in this dialogue. It takes time to build momentum according to the European experience. Usually 2 or 3 roundtables per country are needed, but then the results are very, very important, very strong. We have here some EU experiences. For example, in Belgium, the focus is on one-stop shop approach at regional level to finance EPCs on public buildings. In particular for Belgium, we had several workshops for public and home building renovation. For Spain, they started with a public event that was led by our partner Medener, IDA as a national energy agency. There's now a dedicated project that's led by the Green Building Council Spain, with a strong involvement of the financial sector, and it has an impact for the long-term national renovation strategy. Finally, Italy, because my agency is leading the main project in Italy, and after a long path, several meetings, the Association of Italian Banking Association, the Italian Banking Association, decided that would like to have and to really start with permanent roundtables to accelerate the rate of energy renovation of buildings. And finally, we have a big project, the Green Road, Growing Energy Efficiency through National Roundtables addresses, that started in September 2021 as a result of the roundtables. Here you can have some details of the Green Road project. It's very important the fact that all the actors and the stakeholders decided to have permanent roundtables to address the challenges that we have and to identify the effective measures, but not just concrete measures, also policy measures, and to improve, of course, the bankability of energy efficiency project. Here there are some more details. In total, the key feedback from 40 events in 16 countries from the SEI Forums initiative is a real concrete dialogue between finance, industry, and policy. There is an impactful capitalization of knowledge. It allows kickstarting new policies and investment programs in many EU member states. Also to revise regulations, for example, the renovation strategies, to adopt funding programs, and to create these long-standing cooperation platforms. This is the link, if you are curious, to the SEI Forums events, where you will find all the 40 events in the countries. And now I would like to conclude, to thank you for your attention, and to conclude by saying that in the MateMed project, we really believe that our work package, access to finance, your expertise together with our expertise, is very important to start a dialogue and to start really pushing the financing of energy efficiency. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Roberta. It was, in fact, a very nice presentation. I would like to thank you for sharing with us the link of the deep open source and the main points related to the report in 2015 and the de-risking energy efficiency platform. I would like also to strengthen the points that you have mentioned during your presentation related to the main barriers that remains critical after 7 years of this report, even though we consider a lot of recommendations covering the retailer and lender that should be engaged on the energy performance, in addition to the blend grants with the loans in single delivered packages. However, the energy efficiency still needs a lot of our efforts to reach to the main target among the whole world, and this is what we want to strengthen before letting the floor if you have any questions. Let me check the chat. I think for now, yes. So we have a question from Bushra. She's asking about, has the ESCO had a role in diversifying the appropriate financing for energy efficiency projects in Europe? Can check the question. Roberta, you are muted. We cannot hear you.
Sorry, I didn't mute myself. Yes, this is very important, and of course, it's a success during the last year in Europe, and of course, I strongly encourage, and we are working for that, all our partners in the Mediterranean region to follow the example, and I'm sure that in our MeetMed, in our work package, this will be done and clarified also by our experts.
Thank you so much. I think we don't have any questions for now. I just would like to announce that Cyril have to be in another meeting and he is coming back after a while. So allow me to share. Thank you so much, Roberta. I would like to thank you for this very nice presentation and for sharing with us the links and the main recommendation of the report. I would like to mention to all our attendees that we are going to share the material after the training course among all of them. So allow me to start my presentation, which is related to the business models of the energy efficiency sector. Give me a second to share the presentation. So do you see my presentation now?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, Mustafa. So at the beginning, I would like to give you main outlines about Work Package 5 for whom are not haven't been with us during the last Work Package launching event. This work package is actually focusing on the access to finance, as we believe that all the southern and eastern Mediterranean countries need to act now to address the energy efficiency measures within their national strategies and to support their commitments toward the global warming. This is have to be done by a complying strategic way, and it won't never happen without the access to finance, because as we mentioned, the project is covering 8 main countries, which some of them are under development and need access to finance, specifically in the building and appliances sector. And that's why we have at MeetMed Phase 2 project Work Package 5 that mainly focused on that. I'm going to start actually with the energy efficiency multiple benefits and the main benefit of this technology. So the energy efficiency brings a variety of benefits, reducing the greenhouse gas emissions and the demand for energy imports, and lowering, of course, our cost on the household and economy-wide level. Improving the energy efficiency is also the cheapest and often the most immediate way to reduce the use of the fossil fuels, and this is one of the main points that we have to focus when we say energy efficiency comes first. There are also enormous opportunities for efficiency improvement in every sector of the economy using the existing technology, and we can highlight here, obviously, that the strategic development goals, SDG number 7, ensures access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all sets. The target of doubling the global annual rate of energy efficiency to be improved by 2030. This have to be doubled from 1.3% to 2.6% per year, which is a huge amount, needs a lot of steps to be achieved globally. The key driving factors for the energy efficiency improvement is going to start with the policies through the developing countries, covering the long-term strategic plans, the product and sectorial standard, and of course the mandatory labeling and building codes. In addition to the standards of the monitoring mechanism, auditing mechanism, and obligation schemes, because if you talk about the energy efficiency in building codes, we can highlight that 6 of our 8 countries have already building codes, but it's not yet obligation among the investors. Materializing also the energy efficiency opportunities require huge investment, especially from the private sector, and this goes to the technology. And the average annual rate of improvement in global primary energy intensity during 2010 and 2017 was 2.2%, more than the 1.3 during the 19th, and to reach the strategic development goal of the 7.3 target by doubling the historical improvement trend, the annual improvement to 2030 have to be increased, as I mentioned, to around 3%. This can be done through the policies, the technologies, the investment, and of course the consumer behavior. And if you are going to look about the 4 main key driving factors, from my perspective, we can mention that the countries have to reinforce the policies, and the technologies need to be spread and promoted in order to be mature. And the investment is one of the main factors that is related to catalyzing this technology, and at the end, the consumer behavior, which is one of the main reasons why we are focusing on the MIPS and labeling at our activities. Going to the business models, I would like to just highlight that the business model is supposed to recognize the customer and identify the main value that can be created or added for this customer, and how you can do that at a reasonable cost. So the EPC model is one of the main business models for the energy efficiency, and it's a financial mechanism used to pay for today's facility upgrades with tomorrow's energy saving. Again, it's the way used to pay for today's facility upgrades with tomorrow's energy saving. And this is very nice because we are looking for the future. Without tapping your organizational capital budgets, the EPC constitutions and partnership between a facility owner and an energy service companies that, as the ESCOs, is considered a time and cost-effective method for completing the comprehensive energy upgrades. The main steps and the common barriers of the EPC, I will start with the common barriers actually, because the main steps can be modified from country to another based on the main context of the country. But for the common barriers, I have to mention that the awareness and information lack of the on the complexity of the ESCO's concept, leading to that disturbed by end users and also by financing institutions. The legal and political barriers as well, erratic the policies and lack of general aspects and acceptance of the ESCO definition, in addition to the certification and the standards, ambitious legislations, and in addition to the problematic procurement rule. We can also highlight the institutionalization and the project tools and the lack of facilitators, lack of proper MMV practices, saving the predictability of the upcoming project. And one of the main barriers is the financing barriers, which is accounting of the EPC project as a loans by public authorities, problem with bank financing, as a low awareness and motivation to finance the ESCO problems, the ESCO projects. Aversion also to loans by the potential ESCO clients and high transaction costs. there is also the market and partnership problems, and this is due to the low energy prices and high preserved risk lack of well-established partners for the project. This is, I think, the case in some of our countries like Libya. In addition to the lack of common understanding of the measurements and verification protocols among the civil society. And the last point here is the behavioral barriers, which is a client risk aversion about the EPC models and prefer the in-house solutions as one of their unwillings to take on long-term debts rather than going outside and checking with the experts. One of the most famous models also is the EEFIG model, which is a commercial business providing a range of energy solutions, including design and implementation of projects focused on energy saving, retrofitting, and energy conservation. The EEFIGs first appeared in the US in early 90s and have been developed after that around the world. And the biggest EEFIGs markets, as most of you already know, are in China, US, and the EU. There are two types of EEFIGs. One of the guaranteed saving EEFIG model, which is the EEFIG takes only the performance risk, where the other model is the shared saving EEFIG model. And in this model, the EEFIG takes both the performance and the credit risk as well. I just want to highlight here that the value of the global EEFIG market grew by 8% to USD 28.6 billion in 2018, of which it was 16.8 in China, with an average of 59%, and the market in the US, where EEFIGs have been operating for well over 30 years, grew to USD 7.6 billion, also in 2018, with around 26%. In the European Commission, also the EEFIG market remains somehow underdeveloped compared to other major regions, representing 10% of the global total. And this is based on the IRENA survey on 2018. On average, EEFIG projects are delivering energy saving up toward of 25%, and the majority of EEFIG projects takes place in the non-residential building sector, followed by industry. Very few projects in the transportation sector. And the subsidiary EEFIG are typically a small branch of the large engineering firm of or technology provider, such as Honeywell, Siemens, Schneider Electric, operating in a mature market, which allows for project aggregations. In this case, the EEFIG service may have access to equity to finance projects, or might have an easier time borrowing due to a high credit rating. There is also the standalone EEFIG, which is generally from 20 to 50 employees and slowly focused on delivering energy saving measures. And these companies often possess different financing capabilities due to their small size. The EEFIG's revenues by the end user sector is one of the main points that we have to focus on. And we have to mention here that in China, for example, 55% from the revenues goes to the industrial sector, while only 45% in the non-residential sector, as it might seen on the graph. And going to the EU, it's only 20% goes for the industrial sector, while 80% goes for the non-residential sector. And the residential sector covers in Brazil by only 37%, while the industrial sector goes for a very small amount with 4%, and the non-residential sector goes for 5%. In the US, for example, it's 10% for the residential sector and 90% for the non-residential sector, while in Korea, it's 25% for the residential sector and 75% in the industrial sector. From this figure, we can highlight that the residential sector taking huge amount or a large amount, let's say, in Brazil, Korea, while it's a very small on the other regions, and that's why we have to focus on it, and that's why we know that there is a lot of potential. We should go further with it. Another model, rather than the EEFIG, is the pay-as-you-save model, which is, we can give it a abbreviation of PAS model. This model based on getting the efficient energy using devices or equipments, such as the LED or the CFL bulbs and electric appliances to the users. The user usually continue pay the agreed electricity bill for a certain period of time. And upon the end of this period, the devices or the equipment ownership is transferred back to the user. So it's somehow similar to the contracting issues of the or contracting methodologies of the renewable energies that people somehow are familiar with it nowadays. Going also to another business model, which is the Super-ESCO model. I have to highlight that the governmental policy is a key driver of the EEFIG activity and can have an influence on whether EEFIG projects are carried out in the private or the public sector. And in China, for example, the policy incentive had been driven to EEFIG engagement in the private sector, while the government procurement policies have been a barrier to EEFIG market development in the public sector. Another example, in North America, on the other hand, the public sector EEFIG activity has flourished as public sector asset owners are able to obtain debt on favorable terms, which can be used to finance the EEFIG contracts. The government-backed Super-ESCO, one good example in the EESL, which is the Energy Efficiency Service Limited from India, and the EESL is promoted by the Ministry of Power in India as a joint venture of 4 reputed public sector undertakes, and its main business model is large-scale public purchase of efficient bulbs and air conditions, water pumps, e-mobilities, and implementation of energy efficiency retrofitting projects. Due to its governmental backing, the EESL is able to get hundreds of millions of the USD dollars funding from the EDP, from the KfW, from the AFD, and the World Bank for the energy efficiency activities, and it's also getting substantial funding from the Indian government. So this was one of the successful stories in the Super-ESCO models, and getting the governmental support can, by a way or another, support in having a fund at the end. I'd like to end my presentation with some of the recommendations to promote the EPC and the EEFIG models in the region. By the end of the presentation, I would love to listen from you if you have any other recommendations rather than what I have put in the screen. So the first one, of course, is the awareness raising and capacity building, capacity building professional examples that can build the expertise of the public, private, and international and regional experts in the region. Of course, the fiscal incentives through taxes and subsidies for the EPC projects. Also, a clear guidance and standards on the measurements and verification related to the EPCs. Using, of course, the EPC in the energy efficiency, renovation, and retrofitting of the public building and facilities like street lightings and water supply. In addition to the supporting financing policies like the bank loans for EPC project, guarantees, and insurance product for EPC projects, markets for the transactions of the EPCs. And at the end, I would say that trainings and accreditation of professionals like energy auditors and energy managers and accredited EEFIG's companies that based on their qualification and of course credit level, as the example in US and China. Thank you so much all, and I'm ready if you have any question. Check the screen. Okay. So we don't have any questions for now. We don't have any questions for now. So let me shift to the other presentation, I think. Okay, it's time for Mustafa Hassanin's presentation. Mustafa is going to give us...
Iman, for interrupting you. Iman?
Yes?
You have 2 guests raising hands.
I can see them. Okay. Can you just help me, Asma, and let them start?
It's okay. You have Miss Habiba. Raising hand. So if we can, you can just type your question, Miss Habiba.
Yes.
And Miss Noha Mansour, would you please write your questions in chat bar, and Miss Iman will be responding you. Thank you so much.
He is asking about sharing the slides. We are going to send you all the presentation by the end of the day, maybe. Who is eligible for this? I think you are talking about the EEFIG, and the previous experience stated a lot of criteria that have been achieved to give the eligibility for EEFIG companies to work, and based on that, the companies have to achieve these criteria, then they can be eligible. So it's a public thing announced by the governmental institutions and or by the international accredited organization, and have to fulfill the criteria to have it at the end. Okay, Mustafa, you can open the screen, the presenter viewer. What's about Tunisia? We will have a team from the ANME, which is let me just pronounce it yet, the National Agency for Energy Conservation, and they are going to give us, after Mustafa's presentation, a clear overview about the Tunisian energy efficiency strategy and how to scale up the energy efficiency measures with more information related to that. So I'd love to leave the floor for them by the end of the day. Okay, so I think we don't have any. There's someone else is raising his hand. Is it a question or just Mrs. Habiba? Habiballah, I think. Can you please write your question in the chat if you have a question? Okay, anyways, we will have a session at the end of the day for the questions and answers. So let's give the floor to my colleague, Dr. Mustafa Hassanin, who will give us, as I mentioned, an introduction to the green finance with focus on the energy efficiency and case study from Egypt. Dear Mustafa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Iman, and welcome all. Do you see my screen now? Yes.
Yes, Mustafa. It's
yes,
clear.
okay. I have a great pleasure to be with you today. My name is Mustafa Hassanin. I am one of the key experts in the field of sustainable energy. And also I am responsible for different activities in the MEET-MED project regarding district cooling and also the financial aspects. So welcome all. And also I see in the chat that a lot of participants are from my colleagues, from my previous colleagues in the Ministry of Electricity, as I am a former engineer in the Ministry of Electricity, in the Egyptian Ministry of Electricity for more than 10 years. So I also send to them all greetings. We are talking today about the green finance topic. What is there in the green finance nowadays? And we will focus mainly on the energy efficiency tools. And we will take maybe snapshot from the case studies from Egyptian case. In fact, green finance may be one of the maybe the strategic important topics now in the negotiations for the climate change conference, COP27. So a lot of preparations there in the market, talking about what is there and what is the benefits for different countries, especially non-Annex 1 countries or developing countries, from the green finance strategies or mechanisms that will be available in the market. These trends or these aspects, maybe it's contrasts to 5 years ago, as sustainability and the climate change risks are very high potential now on the agenda of different conferences, especially in the sustainable energy field. I think it's also the green finance become a priority for different enterprises and different businesses that we have to define first before entering any new business or entering any new commitment. Also, the green finance aspect is very relevant to what is the priorities of each country regarding the climate change or the financial institution framework in each country. So the green finance may be one of the major topics that we have to define. And today we will go very basic about what is green finance and what is climate finance. And we will focus mainly on the challenges for the energy efficiency that could be solved through a green finance tool. So that is the very framework or the very general idea about today's presentation. We will go first for the climate and the green finance and what is there and what is available international climate funds in the market. And then we will go deeply in the Egyptian case, as we have two different cases today, one of the Egyptian and one of the Tunisian part. So we'll go to the Egyptian case, what is there, different climate funds operating in the market. And also we'll take two pioneer examples for the climate change, especially for the energy efficiency tools that provide the de-risking tool to promote energy efficiency mechanisms in the country, the GEF and GGF, the two funds. And also we will talk about what is the future projects needed to be funded, especially for the energy sector. So all in all, we will go first for the green finance definition. The journey started maybe from 1994, from the early beginning for the UNFCCC conferences. The major definition for the green finance or climate finance there is that it's increasingly used in many countries across the world. No single definition or no single word agreed before Paris Agreement for the green or climate finance. So it's very general that maybe every international institution have defined it according to their methodologies or their tools. Along the days and reaching the Paris Agreement, that we reached that the very maybe concentrated definition for the climate finance or the green finance. And from there it's the beginning and what is the tools or what is how to facilitate it through the countries. So according to Paris Agreement, the climate finance mainly it is according to Paris Agreement, the climate finance definition is financial assistance from parties with more financial resources to those are less endowed and more vulnerable. So the Paris Agreement put mainly as a first definition that the financial is as an assistance from the Annex 1 countries or the developed countries to developing countries, and it have to be defined as tools. First of all, tools, financial tools, and also mechanisms how to transfer this money to these countries. Climate finance is needed for mitigation because of large-scale investment are required to significantly reduce emissions, of course, and also it's equally important for adaptation aspects. And also we are talking in COP27 nowadays about what is the adaptation fund and how can we develop equal mechanism for adaptation regards mitigation. For that, the long-term goals of Paris Agreement, as we know all that we are talking about 1.5 degrees Celsius target by 2030. This goal is not reachable, and it's very difficult to reach by the following mechanism. So one of the major challenges to reach this goal is to provide a global finance flows towards low GHG and climate resilient investments. For that, Paris Agreement in Article 9 puts a mandatory definition or a mandatory discussion about what is there in the climate finance. So one of the mandatory issues is that providing financial resources is mandatory to be provided by the developed countries to developing countries in the context of mitigation actions. Financial support also will probably not be in the form of grants, and the government should strive to benefit from all the possible financial mechanisms. So we have two aspects here. One of them is that the financial resources will begin from the developed countries to developing countries, and the other one is that the developing countries have to mention the projects portfolio in their national strategies. So it have been announced in their national strategies that they will have one strategy for energy efficiency and other for renewable energy and so on. So it must be mentioned and announced by the government that they have a portfolio of projects. On the other aspects, the country may make benefit from the financial resources in the market. Mainly, as we said, that the green finance it's not have one definition, or what is the difference between the definition between green finance and the climate finance. The climate finance is a very general definition rather than green finance. The green finance is definitely when the finance will flow to the green projects, either renewable energies, energy efficiency, and we will see also a lot of examples from the green finance methodologies. The climate is more general, that it's cover different aspects in mitigation and adaptation, and also it's have to be defined in the country's portfolio. As we said, all the projects have to be defined. We answered also this question: why is it important to define the climate finance or the green finance in the market? We see here that we have we talk about this point in that from the climate change aspect, that it is a common activity that everyone have to participate in. So it's not a single country or a single institute have to define the climate change aspects. So we see here that a significant financial resources, sound investments, and a systematic global approach are needed to address these worrying trends to reach the 1.5 degrees Celsius. Sorry, these two slides are in Arabic, so I have to figure them, because that's from the source that we talking about a gap, a financial gap, on the international level and also on the Egyptian level. According to the national determined contributions that has been announced and raised by countries to the UNFCCC, we can see here that we have more than $4.2 trillion yearly needed to cover all the announced or really announced mitigation and adaptation actions. So this is what we call a financial gap here yearly. For Egypt, according to also the recent announced climate change strategy in Egypt, maybe from less than 1 month, that we have different activities all over the country. To reach these activities or to reach our goals in the NDCs, we need maybe about $760 billion. We are here talking about 2030 goals. So it's maybe about 7 years from now. So if we divide this number on 7 years, so we need yearly about $100 billion, which is very, very great amount to be covered. What is there in the context of available international climate funds in the market? We will see that a lot of mechanisms and funds announced after Paris Agreement, including the Climate Investment Funds, CIFs, and the Green Climate Fund is one of the major funds all over the world, and a lot of countries have make announcements about putting their money and pushing the green climate funds all over the world. Also, we were talking about the Adaptation Fund as a global environment facility. GEF, it's one of the oldest funds in the market. And also we can talking about now UN RED and the Clean Technology Fund, CTF. And also our countries in the region, our mainly Arab countries, do a lot of efforts in these funds, and also they are presented in the boards in some different funds, and also we make a lot of projects there. As we all know that the money come mainly from the multilateral climate funds announced by developed countries, and also we're talking about the development banks, or are pushing these different funds or facilitate, according to Paris Agreement, that the fund must be facilitated from the non-Annex 1 and from Annex 1 countries to non-Annex 1 countries, or for developed countries to developing countries. This is example of recent climate funding announcements to cover the gap of 100 billion per year by 2020. It's not reachable because the maximum amount announced is maybe less than or equal $10 billion only. So also this is one of the aspects will be negotiated intensively during COP27. In Egypt, we have some.
ممكن يا إيمان تشاور لمصطفى إنه يفتح الكاميرا.
Okay, Asma, I will open the camera.
Okay. Sorry?
I will open the camera. Okay, no problem.
Open your camera. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Okay. So we are now talking about the financial resources example in the Egyptian context, mainly concentrating on the energy efficiency tools. So first of all, we have to define what is the challenges for the energy efficiency, to promoting energy efficiency in the country, and then we will put the solutions for these challenges. Looking about the investments in energy efficiency, we will see that they often suffer from additional perceived risks. From the project side, we will see that the performance risk due to limited familiarity with technology equipment, implementation risks due to limited track record of technical solutions, complex measurements and verification process, and sometimes amortization periods due to the complexity of projects. So we are talking now about the technology itself and the know-how. Other aspect is that counterparts. There's not existing common model in the country to provide an energy investment solution. From the financiers itself, the limited experience with EE lending, with difficulty to recognize financial benefits of energy savings. From the market environment side, we are talking about the regulatory framework, the absence of regulatory framework for each country, and also there is a specific risks regarding the currency and the environment, and also. So this is maybe a very brief or a very overview ideas about what is the challenges in the market for the energy efficiency. For that, for the Egyptian case itself, a lot of solutions have provided already. One of them is the GEF and also GEF fund, and also another one is the Green for Growth Fund, the GGF. And as RCRE has maybe a partner for this, looking as a technical arm for these two projects, so we will briefly talking about them today. Also, we have another environmental compliance office, ECOFI, here in Egypt, give an very low interest rate for different projects, energy audits projects, and also Central Bank of Egypt to make some initiatives for the small intermediate enterprises over attractive loans about different percentages. Mainly, we will take the Green Economy Financing Facility, GEF. In Egypt, GEF provides finance and advice for private sector business, so mainly target private sector companies. The facility supports Egypt green economy transition with more than 140 million euros until now. It's working mainly in more than 7 or 8 local banks. We will see in the next slide. It's mainly aiming to finance energy efficiency and small-scale renewable energy investments. So we are talking about technical support for the green investment projects, the finance to implement, and also a grant for successful completion. So one of the major aspects here in this fund is they give a little part of grant. There is a grant for completion of the studies or implementation of the projects, rather than the other one, the GGF facility, which doesn't give any grants to implement the project. The facility is mainly from EBRD, EIB, and AFD, and also it permits different stakeholders. As we see here that Alexandria Bank and AAIB Bank, African International Bank, QNB, and also there are a lot of banks there in the market now. We are talking about the QNB and we are talking about the CIB and a lot of banks there now. So this is the cycle of the project, as we will compare it also with the GGF. It's a very easy one. So you can, as an investor, you can provide your aim or your study to the bank, and also this cycle will be done also for the GGF projects, from the technical assistance and then to credited or no, and the decision taking and also the verification process after that. The private sector entities include all the commercial, industrial, ESCOs, and renewable energy developers. All can be benefit from this facility. And also, this is the cycle for approval of or pre-approval for projects and sub-projects. The type of assessments required for providing the assistance, the financial assistance, is divided in 2 parts. One of them is the technical, which we may take part in, and also the other one is the financial assessment. The technical assessment is regarding the calculations of the GHG emissions and the energy consumed, and the energy will be saved, and also doing some sensitivity analysis, and for sure that's a financial assessment regarding the internal rate of return and what's the payback period and so on. Also, this facility providing some financial assistance to the building sector, and also we can go into their website and choose your technology or the provided technology for the building sector, and then you can go for that. For the GGF technology here in Egypt, it's recently announced that you can also going for the green building sector. So we have the 2 facilities now giving this option. For the Green for Growth Fund, mainly that RECRE nowadays working out the technical arm or the technical consultant for this facility with Bank Educare. So the investor going to the bank requesting a financial maybe loan for doing some energy efficiency activities. So we will review all the cycle for the papers and we'll check what is going there is on from the technical side. The main requirement here is that if they provide 20% reduction in the energy consumption or 20% reduction in the emissions. So one of these aspects is going on, we approve the study. We are talking here also is a public-private partnership fund that going to the local financiers, local banks, and mainly it's working with the Bank Educare nowadays, but it's also have working with the Al-Ahli Bank. This is GE fact sheet all over the world. You can see here that it's active in different 17 countries. 5 of them is Arab countries. And also this is the amount of CO2 reduction and energy saving and renewable energies that has been installed all over the countries. This is the sector financed from the percentage of finance of different sector. We can see that the commercial sector is there, manufacturers, our industries, transportation sector, also households is a very good example or potential for households to put maybe rooftop PV panels or make some energy efficiency in appliances. It's also there. This is the institutional structure for also the same round for financiers. And this is the countries we will see here: Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, Morocco, Tunisia. We have different Arab countries. The project portfolio in Egypt, starting from 2018, we have for the first phase we have $10 million, and then after consuming this budget, we have another one. So as we said that this is the requirements for giving the or approving the project is 20%, and also RCRE provides technical service and energy assessment for this project. This is there are the main partners for the project, and also this is the outcomes: energy assessment report, technical assistant consultation, and also we provide capacity building programs and environmental and social assessments for the projects. Depending on the purpose of financing, the energy assessment could be done for any of the following categories: replacement of existing equipment, additional installation of new equipments, and also expansion of production. And also according to the study provided that we can choose the best solution for the customer. The main and agreed service including also providing technical training for the bank and also conducting energy assessment service or help desk support for if they have any inquiry about the cycle or something missing in the numbers or some consultation about the equations calculated or something like that. This is the workflow for project verification. It's the same as Jeff, the same, but this is according to the guidelines of the GGF. So there is the application for the project. You can apply for it, and then we can differentiate between two topics. If either you will put effort on new equipment, or you have to replace another one, existing one, and we do all the calculation. The energy assessment type, detailed or sample, as according to the discussion according to the situation. Eligibility check, then according to the criteria, and proceed it for the bank for approval. And also after maybe 6 months or 1 year, we have to do what is called post verification process. This is the outcomes in the Egyptian case, not in the international one. We have provided a lot of direct investments in the transportation sector, for the facilities, for the industrial. We have a lot of major sections there. The results up till now, more than 130 million Egyptian pounds have consumed in different energy efficiency technologies. And also, I think this number is expected to expand for the next year. So all in all, after all of this presentation, what's maybe we have one or two knowledge to capture from this presentation is mainly what is the green financing. As we said, that the green finance itself is aimed to increase the level of financial flows from banking or from bank sector on insurance or investments, from the public, private or non-profit sectors to sustainable development priorities, especially have a major impact on the environmental and social risks. This is what's green finance. And also, this is some examples from the technologies. When you provide the finance or the finance pipeline of finance for these projects, it will be a green finance for green projects. We are talking now about green buildings. We have here in Egypt the new administrative capital. The district cooling is a very, very pioneer energy efficiency technology with more than 50% saving from the energy consumed regarding the traditional cooling. And also we are talking about the smart grids, the green transportation. Yes, for sure, energy efficiency, renewable energy projects. We are talking now about the power to X, hydrogen, electric vehicles, waste to energy. And also we have here in Egypt an action plan for the waste to energy technologies. We are talking also about smart cities. As we said that smart cities is a very attractive also potential for the energy efficiency funds and use. That's all, and thanks for your time. And I hope to succeed to transfer some portion of the knowledge about the green finance aspect. Yes, for sure, we can read more about the green finance strategies and policies and what is there in the countries. And that's all, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, my dear colleague Mustafa. Actually, you didn't give me any chance to recap because you already did the key finding at the end. So thank you for that. I would love also to introduce our colleague from the ANME, Nadia Bishin, the Deputy Director of the International Cooperation Department in charge of the bilateral cooperation. And Nadia is going to give us a scope on the Energy Transition Fund, the FTE, in a way of discussion more than a presentation. Can we just give Nadia the access of the mic and the camera, Ibrahim? Nadia, would you please type in the chat? We cannot figure you out from all of those attendees. Hello, Nadia, do you hear us? Nadia, could you please type on the chat so we can figure you out from all of these attendees? Okay, so until we have Nadia, do we have any questions for Mustafa?
I think it's clear, Iman. No more
Yeah, I
questions.
think so. We don't hear you, Nadia. I'm sorry. Apparently, there is a problem with the sound on Nadia's computer. We don't hear you. And if you could type on the chat box, we can figure you out, and our IT maybe can support you to hear you there. So the National Agency for the Energy Conversion is the agency that is responsible for the FTE program, which is an energy transition fund in Tunisia, and covering one of its main aspects is the energy efficiency. And this is what we are going to have now as a scope from Nadia. We cannot hear you, Nadia, or even figure you out on the chat. I'm sorry for that, it's out of our hand. Nadia, could you please type on the chat? Could you please type on the chat so we can find your account here? Yes, DTI guest. Mr. Ibrahim, could you help, please, Nadia? She just typed on the chat box now. Could you please help here? Okay, let's have a 5-minute break until our colleague Ibrahim help Nadia to be with us. Then we can complete with the Tunisian experience.
Okay.
Hear you, please.
You-
We can hear you.
You are ready? So let me introduce you once again, just for
Okay, thank you.
Nadia Bishin is the Deputy Director of the International Cooperation Department in charge of the bilateral cooperation at the ANME, which is the National Agency for Energy Conservation, and she is going to give us at a glance the scope of the FTE, which is the Energy Transition Fund in Tunisia. Thank you, Nadia, for joining us, and please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Iman. The pleasure is mine. So I will give you at a glance about our Energy Transition Fund, which is a special treasury account created under the Article 67 of the law number 2013-54 of December in 2013.
Opening your camera. Thank you.
I haven't a camera in my office. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much.
So, I said was created in 2014 as amended by the Article 3 of Law 2014. This fund was created for the purpose of encouraging investment in the field of energy management and support for the creation and promotion of energy companies, as well as the implementation of national programs contributing to energy management, energy through participation in the financing of actions and the project, and the provisions of various sources of financing in order to cover the cost of investment in the field of energy management with a view to achieving the energy transition. So this fund have some resources. I will give you as example some resources about our fund. The resources of FTO consist of tasks applied to products directly or indirectly related to energy consumption, as for example the task due to the occasion of the first registration of passenger cars, tasks from cars, with the exception of certain types such as cars used in the field of public transport or car rental or driving school. As well, a tax due on the import or local production of air conditioners, with the exception of export. Another tax due to lamps and to tubes when imported or produced locally. A tax due to the importation of used engines and spare parts. The FTU could finance through donation and subsidies from natural and legal persons. It should be noted that the FTU has benefit from funds through international cooperation, including that of the European Union. In addition, second financing agreement was concluded to support the energy transition in Tunisia through the granting of donation from the public treasure. So the fund intervention are divided into three groups. The first one, intervention to support material and immaterial investment aimed at energy management in energy establishment through the granting of the following financing. I'm sorry, we'll send you the presentation because I have some graphics. Okay, so do you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. So premiums for immaterial interventions not exceeding 70% of the cost, with a ceiling that varies between 30 and 200 million dinars, depending on the operation, of course. And the premiums for material intervention at rates that vary between 20% and 30%, with a ceiling of between 3 and 2 million dinars, depending on the operation as well. Subsidized credit to support material investment up to 20% of the cost of the investment. This credit cannot be of a bank loan, of course, of the same value. Intervention to encourage the implementation of energy management projects for their own account, project with aim to supply energy management services on behalf of others, centralization of the production of the means and its distribution between the energy consuming establishment, and project for the production of electricity, power generation from renewable energy for self-consumption purposes. We have also a premium not to exceed 10% of the cost of equipment with a ceiling of 200 dinars, and which can be included the financing scheme, a refundable endowment or equity participation at a rate not exceeding 60% for equity or capital. Credit granted for the benefit of energy management projects for their own account at a rate of 35% of the overall cost of the investment, with a ceiling of between 350 and 600 Tunisian dinars, depending on the operation, and that need also a bank loan. And the third one is an intervention for financing of one of national projects and programs. It means we finance the national programs in terms of energy management, of course, carried out by the state and local authority with the aim of reducing the state subsidy allocated to energy products. The fund provides partial or total financing of these programs. Their methods of execution, target groups, cost and financing schemes are fixed by a joint decree of the ministries having the supervision of the organizations intervening in the execution of this program, and this on the proposal of the technical commission responsible for issuing an opinion of the Grandin Fund intervention. So this is a scope of our energy transition fund. I'm so sorry to haven't a presentation to be shared with you, but we'll send it to you sooner. Thank you so much. Hello?
Thank you so much, Nadia.
I don't know if it was clear. It's not like a presentation, I know, but just give you an idea about the energy transition fund.
No worries, we can understand that it's out of your hand due to the internet issues, but I believe that we can spread the presentations later on with our attendees there. I would love to thank you so much for your time and effort, and I think
Thank you.
People are typing on the chat that it was clear. Thank you so much for supporting us also. So let me, at the end, to give the mic for our attendees. If you have any questions, please type it on the chat box for any of the speakers today, including Berta, Nadia, Mustafa, and myself. Do you have any questions? Fine. So since we do not have any questions, allow me to end this capacity building program with a video, a very short video about the district cooling planet in the administrative capital, the new administrative capital of Egypt. It was one of the knowledge exchange missions that we have been working on with our countries, and this video expressed the new capital as one of the new sustainable cities, including the district cooling planet, which is one of the main pioneer projects in the energy efficiency in the building sector. I'm seeing people are typing questions, so let's start with the video and we can reply for the questions after that. I hope that you can see the video. And now I think we are done. Let's take the questions. Thank you, Fadl, for your comment there, but unfortunately due to the internet issue, Nadia haven't been able to share her presentation. Yes, Fadl, Libya is one of our 8 countries in this project. So as I mentioned, the MeetMed project is a EU-funded project in cooperation between the Millionaire and RIPRI, covering 8 main countries, including
that it was
Libya.
I'm so sorry. I have a presentation not achieved and in French, so I can present it. I forget my laptop, so I am with the computer of the office. I'm so sorry. ما كنتش نعرف أنا اللي باش نقدم معناها جيت هكاك إيمان فهمت. حسي الوقت نحكي لك شنو اللي صار. عندنا a problem of internet.
Cannot hear you, Nadia. No problem. I think our participants can understand that. So going back to Fadl's question, yes, Libya is one of our 8 countries in the MeetMed 2 project. Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you so much, Ahmed. Yes, we are going to send all the presentations by the end of the day, including Nadia's presentation as well. I think there was a sound at the video, but maybe due to the internet, it wasn't clear with you, Azza, but we will share the video as well with the presentations. Yes, you will have the video. So thank you so much. All, I would love to thank you for being with us and to stated again clearly, we are going to send you all the presentations, the materials, and the videos by the end of the day. Thank you for being with us at the activity 511 of work package 5, which is the access to finance under the MeetMed project capacity building training today. And I'm looking forward to see you all once again. Best of luck and goodbye. I would like also to thank all the presenters with us, Dr. Maged Mahmoud, Cyril, Roberta, Mustafa Hassanin, Nadia Bashin, the behind cam, Mrs. Asma Ahmed, the communication manager, engineer Ibrahim Zwaida, the IT support, and thank you so much.